Megan Haskin, and I'm actually here with Bridget Chuli. We are both third grade teachers, and we put together this nonfiction text features lesson together. So today we're going to be talking about how we presented this lesson in our classrooms. Our content objectives for the day are actually going along with standards RI 3.5 and RI 3.7. And basically those standards are talking about how students can be able to use text features to help them locate information using illustrations and other text to help them locate information. So as you can see, we have our objectives on the board. These are more kid-friendly, but our objectives just state that students are going to be able to identify the text features today, and they're going to be able to use those features to locate information in nonfiction text. Our language objectives, we have two. Students will be able to name orally the text features that they're finding, and students will be able to explain the purpose of nonfiction text features. Now, we're assessing the content objectives by the text feature picture dictionary, which we're going to be having them make in this lesson. And we're also assessing their language objectives through informal observations of their discussions, and they're actually recording audio in their text feature picture dictionary, so that's nice. Now, one of the things that we are really focusing on in this lesson is not only the content and language objectives, but we are teaching them a strategy. Hopefully, the strategy will be helpful to our ELL learners because they can use that strategy in other lessons in order to help them learn information or vocabulary in an easier way. So one of the strategies that we're really wanting to focus on with them is the use of mnemonic devices. So our strategy objective on the board for our students is I can use mnemonic devices to remember important facts or information. We are going to be going over the use of this strategy as well as reviewing cooperation and imagery, which they already know how to do. So for example, they'll be working with others and they'll be visualizing certain things throughout the lesson. In the lesson, they're going to have their iPads because they're going to be making book creator on their iPads, and they're going to be needing volcano nonfiction textbooks, which is why we have a book card over here. And the teacher's going to need our PowerPoint thieves because our mnemonic device during this lesson will be thieves to help them remember nonfiction text features. So I'm going to have Bridget Chuli take over the start of our lesson, and we will see that.
Hi. In preparation for this lesson, it was important that the students and myself reviewed what they had already learned about nonfiction and fiction, comparing and contrasting. So we referred back to the elements that make up fiction, story, and nonfiction. We also discussed how we had seen the Brain Pop video about nonfiction text. Also, we talked about author's purpose. And the students were great about remembering the 3 reasons that authors write selections. And they actually remembered the acronym PI. And this was a great segue for our strategy. We're teaching our strategy because as I explained to the children, they already knew that PI was an acronym, but it was also called a mnemonic device. And that's the strategy that we were going to be teaching in this lesson, and one that they're going to be able to utilize when they need to help them remember important information. So that was our main strategy, as Megan mentioned, which was I can use a mnemonic device to remember important facts or information. We were also working on cooperation, working with partners, where they were going to use their goal of language to be talking and actually orally talking to their partner about the text features that they can name and also the purposes of the text features. And then lastly, one of the strategies that we were going to also mention and work on is imagery. And allowing the kids and making sure that they recognize that they can visualize not only what thieves look like with the mnemonic device, THIEVES, but also a picture of a thief stealing that information. So from there, we went on to the presentation of our lesson, which Megan will take over right now.
So during the presentation, Bridget did a great job of talking about how we go over what we previously know. We already know some of these things about nonfiction, as you can see in our slide. We're talking about nonfiction, we're seeing what makes it different, and now we move on to what actually thieves means. So in this PowerPoint, we're going to be presenting that idea of using the mnemonic device thieves. So thieves is, they call it a pre-reading strategy. We're telling them this is a mnemonic device to help you remember it, but it's when reading a nonfiction text they can think of thieves. When using thieves, we are going to be stealing that information from the text before you read to help you understand it a little bit better and to look at that information before you even read it. Okay, so then throughout the lesson, we're going to be continually reinforcing that idea of using thieves, title, headings, italicized words, every bold word, visuals, every caption, label, sources of information. As you can see already, they are seeing those nonfiction text features and what they're actually called. So we're going to be looking at how we remember that. We're going to be reviewing the strategy of thinking what thieves looks like. And then as we continue to go along through the PowerPoint, Bridget, could you continue on?
Sure.
What's nice about this PowerPoint is not only will it give them the mnemonic device, but now we can actually start to look at what the text features are and how they're useful to readers and what they can do. So for example, like titles are really important. If we go on to the next slide, headings are really important, and it gives them a visual of what they look like. So when they get into that practice stage, they'll be able to actually have already seen examples of what they're going to be looking for. So this PowerPoint is really a nice feature to have in this lesson. Now after the PowerPoint, if students need additional examples of nonfiction text features, we can look through our big book, Introduction to Nonfiction. We actually use this in our last lesson, and the students really like it, and it's easy and it's really big, and it's very clear on what the different text features are. So if they need more assistance, I can either pull a small group and we can go over this, or we can just show a couple examples to the whole group too. Okay, so now we're going to be getting into the practice part of our lesson.
So now the students understand the thieves acronym and using our strategy, mnemonic devices, to remember the text features and also the purpose of them. So what we had the kids do was, we first of all explained that the kids are going to be working with their partners, and that was part of our cooperation strategy. You're working together. I did have to remind the kids of the expectations that they understand when working with partners. And I had the kids explore books about volcanoes with a partner, and they were at their same similar proficiency level. And then encouraging them and reminding them to use the strategy with the visualizing the mnemonic device thieves to remember the text features that we presented. They were going to have each student look through the book and try to identify those text features. I also reminded them that they get to look through that book once or twice, and then from there, they were going to start taking a picture of that nonfiction text feature that they spotted. Once they had their picture, then they were going to start making their own nonfiction picture dictionary using the book creator. Now, this is where our MPI strand for modifications came in handy and in play, because This was actually the expectation for a level 4 student, in which they had to label and explain the four text features and present it within the book creator, using the book creator to help them complete this assignment. The level 1 student for the MPI stand, they did not have to be using the book creator at this time. Our expectations obviously were different. They were just merely labeling and matching with pre-made images from the nonfiction text to the correct text feature. So that just gives you the bandwidth of level 1 to level 5, what the expectations were for each student. After the students did get their 4 for the level 4 different text features and upload them to Book Creator, the students then will discuss with their partners, and this is where our oral language objective came in, the purposes of the text feature and also name the text features. They can also do an audio recording of themselves actually reading and explaining their text features in their book.
Alright, so now that they've had time to go ahead and practice not only finding real text features in the real books and then making their beautiful picture dictionary with their examples of the text features they found and some of them explaining the purpose of them, now we kind of start to wrap up our lesson, and I actually had them stop and they did a self-assessment or an exit slip to kind of go over, okay, what was the strategy that we really used today? Because that's what we're really focusing on. Can they use this mnemonic device, and is it a helpful strategy for them? So here are some of the questions that I had on their exit slip. It was, did you find using mnemonic devices helpful? Will you use this strategy in the future? Can you think of another time where this will be helpful? Have you used this strategy before today? And are there other strategies you like better? So we really gave them some time to really think about the strategy and whether they want to continue using it or not. Now, from that self-assessment, through the use of an exit slip, we kind of wanted to wrap it up and bring it full circle. So we also then had or encouraged students to go ahead and find nonfiction texts on their home country, culture, special holidays, foods, interests, whatever they really wanted. We wanted to encourage them to go out and find these books. Maybe it would be at a library, maybe it would be in the school library on their own free time. But we wanted to also talk about, okay, as you're looking at those nonfiction text features on a topic that interests you, make sure that you're looking for the thieves. Can you see that title, that heading, all of those things in that mnemonic device? Can you find it? Maybe even snap pictures of it on your own time. So then, once they take those pictures of it somewhere else, they can always upload them to their iPad. They can upload them to their picture dictionary and continue to add to that as well. So once they do that, we're hoping that we can take Book Creator and then take the book that they've made, export it as a video, and put it on Seesaw. And then their parents can have it, they can comment on each other's, and it really brings the community and what everyone has been seeing full circle. So we just want to thank you again for watching our lesson, and we hope that you liked it.